Yeah, we're all over Canada mostly. We have a few hundred in the States, so unfortunately, our American friends won't be here today. But hopefully, we'll capture all of our Canadian friends. So today, guys, we have the pleasure of having Adam Avenis. Did I get that right?
A Venus, like the planet
A
with an A.
Venus, like
Yeah,
like the planet Venus, guys. Okay,
there we go.
perfect. And Adam's going to teach us a lot about mindset today. We're going to go through how to align your thoughts with energy, with your goals, using visualization to create predictable results and build a mindset that makes consistency automatic. So I'm super excited, Adam. This is different from what we usually talk about. Tactics, AI, and I'm super excited to have our audience here learn from you. So the floor is yours. We have about 45, half an hour, then we'll go into Q&A for 15. Does that work for you?
Yep, that works for me, 100%. Um,
Perfect. All right. I'll make you
so,
co-host if
I'm
you have
gonna,
any. Go ahead.
there we go. Perfect. So, yeah, I'm gonna jump right into it. I will say too, for everyone listening, be present with the material that you hear today. And the reason I say that is because this material has the ability to change everything in your life. I know now that we're coming to the end of 2025, we're probably getting ready, setting goals for 2026. And trust me when I say I will bet money that your goal is far smaller than where it actually should be. So, someone said the audio is freezing. I just want to check. Can everyone hear me okay? I see Axel put his thumb up. Okay, perfect. There we go. So, if you hear an idea that you like today, write it down and spend some time becoming one with the idea. Okay. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and who I am, just so you know not only who's here talking to you, but how this material applies to your life. And at the end of it, only one idea is all it takes to change your life. So that's why I say take it seriously. Okay. So, to give you a little bit of background on me, I actually first found this material. I was young. I was probably about 20 years old, and I had got into real estate at a very young age. So I was freshly licensed. And I heard that a mindset and manifestation coach was coming to speak to my brokerage. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent with everyone here today. As a young kid, I would definitely say I had a big ego. So if anyone has ever met someone with a big ego, I think everyone in here knows someone with a big ego, right? That was me. And when I heard that there was a mindset and manifestation coach coming to speak to my brokerage, I thought it was a little bit woo-woo. I wasn't really sure how I felt about it. Like, why does this apply to us? I remember before she came in, actually joking to someone sitting next to me saying, guys, we're going to learn how to think today. Like, how fun is that? Right? And she comes into the room. We're in a boardroom in a brokerage. And has anyone heard of Bob Proctor before? Has anyone heard that name? See a couple thumbs up. Okay. So she was a Bob Proctor coach. And she comes into the room and she looks around, she scans the room, and she looks right into my eyes. And she says, "Tell me what you want, and I'll show you exactly how to get it." And I thought that was a pretty wild claim. I'm going to be honest, at the time, I thought it was a wild claim. Like, how could someone ever say that? And she says it again. "Tell me what you want, and I will show you exactly how to get it." Now, although I thought it was a wild claim, I was intrigued. I wanted to hear more about this. Like, how could someone ever say that? She clearly knows something that I don't. And she begins to tell us about this work, and she told us her own story. She goes and unpacks a lot of it. Now, as I was listening, it started to like make more sense to me, right? It wasn't as woo-woo as I thought. Not only was there science behind it, backing all of it up, but it just made logical sense. Like, of course, if you think differently, you'll get different results. At the end of the day, think of the people who are at the top of every industry. They have a different level of conviction, belief. They approach things in a very big way. So as she's going, talking, visualization. Now, I had never in my life done a visualization before. So I'm not sure if other people have. I actually closed my eyes for the first time and visualized my dream life in such specific detail that it actually brought me to tears. It was the first time in my life that I could actually see, feel, taste, or touch that life so clearly that it actually made me emotional. So there I was sitting in a boardroom full of realtors, the youngest one by at least 10 years, I would say, actually crying. Now, as soon as this session ended, I went straight to the coach and I said, "Tell me whatever it takes to work with you. I want to work with you." And she told me her program price. I didn't even have that amount of money in my bank account. So I said, "It's okay, I'll pass." Now, at the time, I thought that it was because I didn't have money. When you hear the rest of the story, you'll realize I actually just didn't know how to make decisions. So I go on for the next 6 to 8 months. Now, has anyone heard of the book Think and Grow Rich? It's a very popular book out there. So I did everything I could to actually try and implement this material. I got the book Think and Grow Rich. I read it front to back 3 times. I started trying to rewire my own thinking on my own. Because I now believed and understood that if I could rewire my automatic way of being, then of course I'd be able to get those different results. And so I was doing everything I could. I was reading the book, I was doing the visualizations, and I would see little shifts in my results, but I kept ending up back where I was at the beginning. There was kind of this base level in bank account even that I kept ending up back at. And I'm sure there are people here who have experienced that before too, where you work so hard and you'll see little shifts, but you keep ending up back where you don't want to be. And when I would look at my brokerage, see the other people there, there were some people who were making triple what I was making and making it seem effortless. So after 6 to 8 months of trying really hard, right, putting in the work, I clearly had a belief that hard work alone is what produced results. I will tell everyone right now, hard work alone is not what produces results. So I was putting in the work, kept ending up back at that same place. And after it was 6 or 8 months, I don't remember exactly, I went back to that coach and I said, "Tell me what it takes to get in the room." And at first, I did whatever I could to get in the room. The first time I actually paid for coaching, I paid for a program that was double the amount of money than I had in my bank account. Double the amount. It was the only way that I could get in the room. I did a payment plan where I put down the first payment or two, and I had no clue where the other payments were coming from. Over the next 8 months, working with that coach, I had tripled my income from the previous year before. And the craziest thing was that I was actually doing a tenth of the outreach and output that I was before. So I want you to understand that your thinking is what produces your results. But the real thing here is that most of your thinking is automatic. Has anyone ever heard the word a paradigm before? Paradigm. See a couple hands. So, what's very important to understand is you have been conditioned throughout your entire life, actually before you were even born, to think and feel a certain way. Your entire life. It's actually now scientifically proven that conditioning starts when you were in the womb because an emotion is simply a chemical reaction. And so when you are in the womb, the thoughts and emotions that your mother is feeling and experiencing actually get transferred to you while your brain is developing. So then throughout your life, even after that, throughout your life, society, parents, teachers, peers, you're being conditioned at all times, just soaking up your experiences. And this is what creates your paradigm. Your paradigm is a multitude of beliefs, beliefs about yourself, about the world, about success, about what you think is a lot of money versus a little amount of money. Now, by the time you reach the age of 25, that part of your brain is developed, and they actually have proven that 95% of the thoughts that you think on a daily basis are the same as the day before. 95%. Now, if you want different results, but 95% of your thoughts and feelings are on a day-to-day basis or the same as the day before, how do you expect them to change? How? And what's crazy about this is those automatic thoughts are in your subconscious mind, meaning they operate below your level of awareness. So to be able to shift what you actually experience, you have to be able to shift your subconscious mind, change your paradigm and how it's actually working. This is the basis of the work that we do here. So to go back to me when I was in real estate, I'll tell you, after that first 8 months, I went on to sell over $100 million worth of real estate before the age of 25. I ended up going on to creating a software company from the ground up from nothing. And I built my coaching company from just starting to having $100,000 months in 9 months. All of this happened from changing my paradigm, learning how to recondition my emotional mind, because that's what the subconscious mind is. So going back to when I was in real estate, what was the biggest thing that changed? Well, when I went and worked with that coach, the first thing that she told me was you have a self-image problem. Now, I'll tell you, I said at the beginning before, I had a big ego at the time. So someone telling me I had a self-image problem was not something that was easily accepted. I was surprised. Self-image problem, I thought I had it going on. You know what I mean? But she was right. When we got deeper into it, again, remember, your subconscious mind operates below your level of awareness. When we got into it, I actually realized I had subconscious beliefs that people wouldn't take me seriously in real estate because of my age at the time. And there were all these other ones in there. As I said before, another one of the big beliefs that was holding me back was that hard work alone is what produced results. And so we had to be able to shift these. One of the main things that changed from me being broke to selling over $100 million worth of real estate was who I believed myself to be, who I actually saw myself as. So if you want to take this seriously, I would write down this question and ask yourself this question. What is the story that you are telling yourself about yourself? What is the story you're telling yourself about yourself? Again, for me, it was that people wouldn't take me seriously because of my age. Now, as soon as I learned the process of reconditioning my subconscious mind, I started to become the person to myself who sold tens of millions of dollars of real estate like it was nothing. Tens of millions of dollars. Now, Here's a tip for the beginning stages of starting to reprogram your mind. It's a process I take people through. We can only go through so much on this call today for actually fully reconditioning the paradigm to be able to experience anything you want in life. And yes, you can experience anything you want in life through this work. But I'll give you a tip to start off. Your subconscious mind is the emotional or feeling mind. And so, what you have to understand is that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what is experienced in physical reality and what is experienced in vivid imagination. It can't tell the difference. And if the subconscious mind is what holds your belief about yourself, which is therefore what dictates your results, then to reprogram the subconscious mind, if you go deep into a visualization, which for some of you, it might even take some developing of your mind to be able to effectively visualize. But if you consistently go into a deep, vivid visualization, you will start to have the subconscious mind believe that you actually are that person. So when I started doing this, what was it that actually changed? Because I'll tell you right now, when I was making those calls, it wasn't actually the script or what I was saying that changed. It wasn't. I was using the same script and calling 10 people a day instead of 100 people in a day, and I tripled my income from a tenth of the output. How could that happen? What most people don't realize is that it's actually proven only 7% of communication is verbal. Only 7% of communication is verbal. So it doesn't matter about what I say. My deeply held beliefs about who I am are what's being transferred at every second in every single conversation. So whether people realized it or not, at the beginning, they were picking up that belief in me that people wouldn't take me seriously. And when I shifted those deep-rooted beliefs, they were subconsciously picking up my deep level of conviction that I was the kind of person who sold tens of millions of dollars of real estate like it was nothing. So, this is the root of the work that you have to start focusing on if you want to change your results. When I was transitioning out of real estate, I actually worked at a real estate coaching company. We actually coached investors. I worked with a lot of high level people, people acquiring hotels, acquiring groups of hotels, that kind of thing. And we would coach the real estate investors. Now, at this coaching company, I would see people come into the coaching company, and with the same blueprint, everyone was handed a blueprint. They paid to get in the room. They were handed a tactical blueprint on how to go from wherever they were to multi-millions. And there were some people who came into this coaching company, like the actual people paying for the service. And with that blueprint, they would become multi-millionaire within a couple of years. There was about 80% of people who would come in and produce very little results with the exact same roadmap or blueprint. Why? Because the answer is not in the tactics. The answer is in the person behind that plan. So if you don't start to shift this, it doesn't matter how awesome your marketing plan is or how much output you do. Just like my story, the energy behind the actions are what matter. It's what creates the basis for everything in your life. So I want you to understand, manifestation has become a little bit of a buzzword in today's society. I'm sure a lot of people agree here today. And I don't think most people even really know what manifestation is, if I'm being honest. But I don't want you to be scared of that word. I want you to think of anything. You can actually just take a second and look around the room that you're in. And I want you to think about it. Every single thing in that room of yours started at one point as an idea. Everything started as an idea, didn't it? I mean, my pen here, this is like an $1,000 pen. I don't know whose idea it was to sell $1,000 pens, but clearly they're selling. This pen started as an idea. This phone started as an idea. Every single app on this phone, all of them started as an idea. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is at all times, you're getting $1 million ideas placed in your mind. There are actually millions of dollars worth of ideas in this Zoom room right now. But because of the paradigm, because of the programming, such a very small percentage of them come out. Think about it. Some people with these $1 million ideas immediately they move through them out into the world through your behavior and actions because it aligns with your paradigm. Some people will get $300,000 ideas and they doubt themselves. They have resistance. They fall into this analyzation stage that takes so long. Those ideas don't actually move through them and out into the world. People have this worthiness thing. They don't think they're worthy. They don't think they're capable without realizing they are infinite spiritual beings that can make anything come through. Any kind of life. There are people actually colonizing Mars and creating self-driving cars, and there are other people who can't allow a $300,000 idea to move through them because they question their ability to do it. It's interesting, isn't it? What if more of these ideas moved through you? I'll tell you something right now. Anything that you can hold in your mind and you can align your subconscious wiring to that, you can experience in your reality. And I have clients of mine, $8,000 a month engineer is one of them. His name's Puneeth. Within 7 months, he had a completely new business making $100,000 a month. Most people aren't thinking big enough. So, going to goals, I want you to think of these concepts as you're now going forward to set goals. In full transparency, I wish we had more time here because there is so much we can go to when it comes to goals and all of this stuff. But I'll give you the starting material right now because we're going to be setting some big goals for 2026, I'm sure. And I'm going to tell you right now, I will bet that most people in this room are setting goals that are far too small. So think about this. Write down your goal on your piece of paper right now. What is your goal for 2026? I'm sure everyone has some sort of GCI goal or take-home goal. How much money do you want to make in 2026? Now, when you look at that goal, is that what you think you can do? Because if so, that would be a goal created by the paradigm. Or is that what you really genuinely want? Would that goal be your dream life? Or is it just something you think is possible if you worked a little harder? Now, I want you to think about your dream life for a second. No limits. You can have any kind of life. And 1 year from now, you can have any kind of life. All you have to do is be able to write it out clearly. What would that life look like? And if there's a difference between that first goal that you wrote and your absolute dream life, you can see the gap in your paradigm that you need to close. As soon as I started understanding this work, what do you think happened? My first coach that I worked with, like I told you, she tripled my income. We worked together. I tripled my own income with her help within 8 months. When she first told me to set a goal that was 3x what I made the year before, I thought she was crazy. When I hit that goal 8 months later, what do you think I said? I wish I set a bigger goal. It took me 9 months to go from zero to $100,000 a month in my coaching business. What do you think I said then? I wish I set a bigger goal. To the universe, there's no difference between making $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month. It's just us that has our own limitations around that, our own emotion we bring to that. And if you can program your mind to make $100,000 not be put on a pedestal, not be this big thing, but actually normalize it and make yourself in your mind believe that you are the person that can naturally produce those results, people will pick it up. You will attract everything required for the production of that goal, and it will happen by law. So after this call, I want you to sit with what would your true dream life be? What is your real goal that you want to set for 2026? Not what you think is possible, what you actually would want for your life. If you could have anything, what would it be? Right? So, John, I know you were saying you wanted to go half an hour and then do some Q&A. Um, do you want to open it up for Q&A now, or how do you want to go about it?
I think so. I think we have a lot of questions. What you presented was is amazing, amazing information, and we all want to dream big, and we all think most of us think that hard work is the only thing that gets us there, but it's a lot about mindset. It's a lot about your focus, right? So I think it's a different angle on what we used to talk about. So I think we have a lot of questions. So feel free, guys. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Good turnout
So
actually without
I'll
our
take a second too. I'm gonna drop my Instagram in the chat there as well. If anyone wants me to send a guided visualization for them, shoot me a message on Instagram. Let me know that you're on this training. I'm happy to send that over to you guys. I'm super active there too. So if anyone has additional questions, you can ask me there.
awesome.
Other than that, let's open it up for Q&A. So you can unmute yourself or ask in the chat, whatever works best for you. Claudia, I see you got a question.
Go ahead,
Hello.
Claudia. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, nice to meet you. I totally believe in this as I've been doing it for a long time, but with my clients in mental health in a different setting. The question, number one, as you well explained, is setting the goal. What is the goal, even if it's beyond what I would feel I could really do or not? But what is the tip that you will give to encourage people to feel, to bring the feeling of the goal they want to reach? Example, I want to make $200,000. Okay, I'm going to go above and beyond, example for some people. But how do I feel that is happening for me? How do I feel that confidence that I'm making $200,000? How to bring the feeling?
Such a
Thank
great
you.
question here. So the first thing is getting incredibly clear on what would be involved in that life. The money itself, we're the only ones that bring energy to it. So the first question I would ask yourself is, what does that amount of money give you in your life? What would that life look like? Are you flying private jets. I don't know if you meant 200 grand per year or per month. I'm going to say per month. Maybe you're flying in private instead of flying in first class, right? Maybe you're able to give back to your community in an incredible way. And each of these different kind of pieces of that dream life will have a different emotional charge behind them. The most important thing is to find what meaning has the biggest emotional charge. So for me at first, there was a lot of lifestyle things. I was very emotionally charged by, certain lifestyle, um, certain houses. I wanted to fly first class. I mean, we only fly first class now, but once upon a time, that just had a big emotional charge behind it. So that's what I would sit in emotionally, whatever gave me the emotional charge. At a certain point, depending on how high level your clients are, the lifestyle things will be checked off. Like at 100 grand a month when we were hitting those goals, for example, a lot of our lifestyle was checked off. So we needed to find what brought emotion at the next level so that we can keep growing. For that, for us, it was service. With our $500,000 a month goal that we have in our coaching business, the money is just a representation of how much service we are actually going to provide, how many lives we are actually going to change. So it's not just about the lifestyle. What within that life that you want has the biggest emotional charge, and how can you go and experience that in your mind as often as possible? That will start the rewiring process. Now, I'm going to go say one other thing too. Your goal has to be big enough that it requires you to change. Because if it doesn't require change, most people, without realizing it, will be committed to comfort rather than committed to their actual goal. There are hidden commitments in everyone's life. But if you get enough of an emotional charge behind a goal that means enough to you, it will take priority in your list of commitments over those hidden ones that keep you stuck. Does that answer your question, Claudia? Awesome. I think I saw a couple in the chat.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
stones is your necklace made of?
What stones is my necklace made of? Good eye, Katarina. That's funny. There's actually a lot of different stones on it. There's crystal. It's green aventurine is the main stone that I have there. So if you look that up, there's like it's about abundance and a few other things. So that's my necklace.
do you have any good books you suggest? Like right now, I'm reading one called "How to Unfuck Yourself," I believe it's called. Uh, it's a pretty good book I've started.
100%. Amazing question. Depends how deep you want to go. I'll give a few recommendations. Think and Grow Rich is one of the cornerstones of this work. So I recommend Think and Grow Rich to everyone. I do recommend studying these books rather than just reading them. There's a difference in that. Beyond that, if you're going to go another step, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard, one of the best books ever. And for the real nerds out there, if you really want to go to the depths, it's not an easy read. So this is why I say the people who are going to be a nerd about this work, go for it. Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, if you do read that book, the warning that I have on that is you are going to be reading quantum physics, neuroscience, like it's going deep into brain waves, like all of it. To
I
someone
just
like
ordered that
myself,
too, actually. Sweet, sweet. Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza.
fantastic book. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for that, Adam.
of course, 100%. Okay, let's see.
A question by Mike. Mike says, "How do you stay consistent with growing towards your goals every day?"
It's a great question there. So I create with my clients, we customize for them something called a daily method of operation. Your daily method of operation is going to be the basis of what moves the needle for you, and it's something that you do every single day. Now, I'll tell everyone here, I identify with someone who is always growing. So it doesn't matter where I'm at with my goal, if I've hit my goal and I'm going on to the next one. My daily method of operation, the habits and routines that I do every single day, are me rewiring my mind to the next level of growth, always stepping into the expanded version of myself. I've mentioned visualization before. That's one that I think should be in everyone's daily method of operation. There's more to that. As I said, you're going to have to really go through an entire process if you want a successful paradigm shift. But if you wake up every single morning and visualize that life that you desire, it's a great first step. And just making sure you're actually ingraining habits that move the needle towards that life. Now, most people don't realize what a habit is. Most people think a habit is something you do long enough until it sticks. A habit is simply a physical expression of something in your subconscious mind. So, to give an example, if you genuinely identify as an athlete, you actually believe yourself to be an athlete. The physical expression of going to the gym or doing whatever training you identify with will be automatic. You're not forcing the action. The action moves through you because that idea has been consented to on a deep emotional level. So, with any habit that you're going to try to input in your life, you have got to actually get it into the subconscious mind for it to be successful and actually being expressed automatically. It's that automatic way of thinking that we have to change.
What are your thoughts on a morning routine, like meditation, yoga? Like, what do you do to keep yourself accountable and to, because the mind does want to drift and go back towards its old patterns. What do you feel is a good way to navigate through those kind of mornings and all that stuff that you do as like a daily discipline, let's say?
Yeah, it's an amazing question. So I think everyone does need to do. This is why, I said with our daily method of operation with our clients, like we do kind of help them craft one that makes the most sense for them. So everyone will have a slightly different one based on what works for you. That being said, I'll give you guys some points right here that's so important. First thing, when you wake up in the morning, your brain waves are actually moving at a slower state because you're in between the state of sleep, being unconscious, and conscious. And so it's essentially like you're in a very deep state of meditation, a theta state. So when you first wake up in the morning, the door to the subconscious mind is completely wide open. So while that door to the subconscious mind is completely wide open, it is very important to be intentional about what you are putting in there. If some people are affirmation people, I think affirmations are great if you know how to do them right and you actually back it with enough emotion and everything like that. Whether it's affirmations, whether it's visualization, whether it's journaling, whether it's reading powerful material, we create self-image scripts for our clients. So like, maybe it's a self-image script you're reading to get that ingrained in your mind that you are that person. That is the time that is the most important. Now, to piggyback on that, another thing that's important about when you first wake up is your mind will be primed and programmed to look for whatever first hit of dopamine it receives. So if you wake up in the morning and you go on your phone and you get a little hit of dopamine from going on Instagram, your mind is going to be looking for that exact type of dopamine throughout the day for whatever caused that hit of dopamine. So do not go on your phone first thing in the morning. I don't even care if it's your email or if it's your calendar, like you think it's productive. No, the first part of the day needs to be a sacred time for you where you get a natural hit of dopamine from something growth oriented that actually has to do with your individual growth as a person. Very, very important to do that. Of
Thanks, Adam. Really appreciate that, man.
course, Jim. Great questions, Jim. I love it. Let me just see here. So we answered Michael's. The next one here,
Sadie, you want to speak up?
Yeah. Hi everyone, and I pretty much just I loved what you were talking about. I listen a lot to Bob Proctor, and this sounds to me that it's heavily on his teachings. On paradigm shift. He actually has a book that's called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. I think it's called. I can't remember. I read it a long time ago.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Um, So I do agree with everything you're saying. That being said, I also think that it's not for us to just be takers, right? Of like, oh, I want this, I want. What are we providing in service is the other question, right? Because we do have to change our mentality in order for that paradigm to change, but then we also have to provide something of service in order for that, visualization or whatever you want to call it comes to us, right? So what do you say to that? Because I do hear a lot of people that are, like trying to change your paradigm, but it's really not about just taking. It's how are you changing your mentality, what it is that you're putting out there all day, every day, even when you're going to sleep. Like I actually listen to Bob Proctor and Jim Rohn and like the Nightingale guy.
Earl Nightingale.
Yes, like nightly. I actually put them on my
Good.
podcast and I put like a 45 minute and I know it takes me 30 minutes to fall asleep. So I know the last words I hear are theirs. And I did go through a lot a while back. And I have to say they helped me to get out of it because you do change your mentality while you listen to them and you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. But I do also believe that you do have to provide something of service, whether it is to yourself, like you're saying, growth, because we can't be idiots and like expect results, right?
So the basis of this work is becoming the person who can provide the service to be able to experience that income, that life, whatever it is. So I don't know if you heard, I answered someone's question about like, how do you get connected to the emotion? What was the emotion behind my $500,000 a month goal? It wasn't about the money or the lifestyle anymore. The money was a representation of how many people we are changing their lives, the service that we are providing in the world. So you need to change who you believe yourself to be, and you need to change your capacity as a leader so that you can serve 100%. And you're not going to be able to serve the amount of people or in the depth that you want to if you're not doing this work for yourself. So it's funny because it lands on both sides of the law of polarity, and it's one of the most important things everyone in here can learn and take with them today. Sometimes people can look at personal development and rewiring your life as selfish. It is the most selfless thing you can do because you becoming your best self allows you to actually be able to serve more people or serve in deeper ways. 100%. So hopefully that answers your question, Sadie. But
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
does that answer?
Well, more than a question was really kind of a note because I feel that a lot of people out there, because like you're saying, and I completely agree, have this belief that, just do affirmations and they will come. But it's not quite just like that. And it was, as I said, more of a remark than a question because when people do that, I'm like, I don't think it quite works like that, but you keep doing you until it happens, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, of course, 100%. It's like I said, the question that in
Did we lose
sales, right?
Adam?
Oh,
I think we lost Adam for a
we
second.
missed the whole answer there, Adam. You wanna?
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you guys hear me now?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So the basis of the question there is who do you have to be to serve at the level that you desire to serve or feel called to serve? And that will, as a byproduct, give you the lifestyle you want, the income you want, and help other people live their life too that they want. So when it comes to sales, everyone here is in sales. And a lot of different people have a lot of different philosophies on sales. I'm going to tell everyone what sales is right now, and I'm going to stamp out any kind of argument about what it is or if it's good or it's not. Sales is simply facilitating someone's desires. That's it. So if you don't know what someone desires, how are you really going to be able to help them? And when you get into sales being facilitating desires, it'll also give you a different perspective as to how to serve people. So in my industry with coaching, facilitating desires sometimes means challenging the very way that they think. And that is what's in the most service to them. It's what helps them make decisions differently than they have before, show up differently. So for you, I would sit with that. Think about it. When you're talking about service, how are you facilitating someone's desires? Just seeing if there's any other questions in the chat here.
One last question. And is there any other way that if people want to work with you, Adam, that you could drop it in the chat as well, or is it just simply Instagram and you'll find everything?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in that, you can shoot me a message on Instagram. I will
Okay.
drop it. I'll drop the chat again. I just put it in the chat there. So we offer clarity calls. It'll either be myself or my head coach that runs them. It's basically like a coaching call. And if we think there's alignment, we can talk about next steps, but it starts more like a coaching call.
Perfect.
We have online programs, we do in-person events. There's lots of different ways that we serve. It all comes from alignment first, though. We want to make sure there's alignment and really understand again what people desire. And if we fulfill that, then we can go into the next steps of that conversation.
Thanks,
Okay.
Adam. I've got a jet. That was great. And then we'll reach out to you on Instagram, man. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you
Awesome.
so much, guys, for your generous listening and even some of the American friends, especially Yazzer, being here on the Thanksgiving Day. Appreciate you, Adam. That was amazing. And everybody, give Adam a follow and DM him on Instagram if you want to take it a further step and have a clarity call with him and his team. Guys, make it a great day. That was amazing. We'll see you all next week. Adios.